Now let's look at parsing strings, which basically means to process or analyze. And we can use methods to parse strings. In this example, we have a long email address, which is this whole line, but we want to extract just the email domain, so it would be the website, which is here. We can use the find method in addition to string slicing in order to get this portion of the string here. And I'll show you how to do this in a text editor. So here I've recreated the same line as in the example, and remember that we want to find the email domain, which I've highlighted here. And let's think about how to approach this. Well, we will probably need to do string slicing, which, if you remember, means to take a portion of a string. And in order to find where to begin the string slice, let's look at the index of this symbol, the @ symbol, because usually the @ symbol indicates the beginning of an email domain. So in order to get that, we would have to store it in a variable. So let's say @position, just an abbreviation. And it would be data.find and then the @ symbol. And this basically will now store the position or the index of this @ symbol. So now moving on, we now know where to start, but what about where to end? Well, if you look at this string, you'll see that the end of the email domain occurs at this space. So in order to find the index of that, let's say SP for space and position, abbreviated, it would be data.find, and intuitively you might think to find the space. But note that this doesn't exactly work, because if you remember, the find method stops after it finds the first instance of this character. And since the first space occurs at this index, that's what it will return instead of this one. So in order to fix that issue, we would have to start searching after the @ position. So now if you start searching from here, everything before that will be ignored. And that means you'll get the correct space index, which is here. So now that we have the beginning and the end, we can now take our string slice. So the domain is data sliced from the @ position to the space position. And note that we do have to add 1 to the @ position because the beginning index is inclusive. So we want to start the U in order to include the U. And we don't have to subtract from this index because remember that the last index is exclusive, so this space will not be included. So if we were to print the domain now, we should get the domain of this email, which is here. Now let's look at formatted string literals, called f-strings for short. And what f-strings do is that it allows someone to easily manipulate a string and add inside an existing string. And you can think of this as an easier way to concatenate, which I'll show you in these examples here. So first, let's pretend this f doesn't exist for now. Let's ignore it. So currently we have this string. It says, I have spotted something, camels. And what this something is the contents of this variable, camels, which is 42. So essentially, these curly braces tell the program to replace this, what's inside of these curly braces, with the actual value of this variable, which is 42. So what this does is I have spotted 42 camels. That will be the resulting string. And the f simply represents that this is an f string and that these curly braces have a specific meaning to them. And note that because this is an f string, you also don't have to convert camels into a string first. It'll automatically do it for you. And this example, you can see you can do the same thing. In something years, I have spotted something something. In this first something, it's the variable years, which is 3. So this something will be replaced with 3 because it's inside these curly braces. So in 3 years, I have spotted, and now I've reached another set of curly braces, and inside this is the variable count. So I will replace the count here, which is 0.1. So here it will currently say, in 3 years, I have spotted 0.1 species, and the variable species, since it's in curly braces, will be replaced with the word camels. So in 3 years, I have spotted 0.1 camels. And this is just an easier way of concatenation because you don't have to worry about converting types and adding plus signs. All you have to do is add the variable within these curly braces. And you have to remember to start it with this letter F. So let's quickly look at another example using the text editor. So let's say I have a variable called name and it stores John. If I wanted to print my name is, and I wanted to print afterwards the contents of this variable name, normally I would have to concatenate like this, but instead we can use F strings. So in order to do that, we would begin with the letter F before the quotes, and then I would put in curly braces the variable. And what this will do is that the program will recognize that whatever's inside of these curly braces should be replaced with its actual contents. So what this will do is now it'll say my name is John, because name contains John. And we can add to this by saying the age is 18. And we could also say now that my name is John and I am age years old. And what this will do is that now it'll also convert the variable age to 18. So now it'll print my name is John and I'm 18 years old. And note that this is a lot more easier to read and less of a hassle than using concatenation. So if we were to convert this to concatenation, which I'll show you right now, it will look a lot harder to read from the programmer's perspective. And also, we would have to worry about converting age into into a string because we can't do concatenation with integers. So the final line would look like this. And even though they both technically do the same thing, F strings are a lot easier to read. So here's a glossary of important terms that we've learned so far. And here are also some exercises that you could do. So feel free to go back in the video and pause and look at some of these vocabulary words and exercises. Thank you for listening to today's Python lecture about string methods. If you have any questions, join our Discord server, link below. There you will have complete access to forums where KITE representatives can answer questions about concerns or confusions on exercises. Have a great day.